The security cameras captured everything. Jordan Williams, successful lawyer, $3,000 suit, superiority complex, kicking his ex-girlfriend to the ground in the middle of Beverly Center Mall. Shoppers gasped. Phones started recording. And Kendra fell backward, humiliated in front of hundreds of people. But here's what Jordan didn't know. The man who caught her before she hit the floor was Jin-Woo Park, Seoul's most ruthless mafia king. The ring on her finger cost more than Jordan's car. And Kendra? She wasn't his poor, abandoned ex anymore. She was a queen. And Jordan just declared war on a woman who had an entire criminal empire behind her. Bad move, Jordan. Very bad move. Merry Christmas, besties. If you love dark romance and powerful comebacks, smash that subscribe button right now. You won't believe where this goes. Drop a comment if you're Team Kendra. 6 months ago, Kendra Williams had learned to make herself small. For 2 years, she'd molded herself into whatever Jordan needed, the girlfriend who didn't complain when he forgot his wallet, who wore cheaper clothes so he wouldn't feel insecure, who smiled through family dinners where his mother asked when she'd fix her natural hair. The breakup came on a Tuesday. "You're just too much work, Kendra," Jordan had said, not even looking up from his phone. "My firm's making me junior partner. I need someone who fits that life. You understand, right?" What he meant, someone who wasn't black, wasn't struggling to pay for nursing school, wasn't a complication. He'd left her in their shared apartment, which was only in his name, with 2 hours to pack. Kendra had called her best friend Mei Ling, who came with her brother's truck. As they loaded her life into cardboard boxes, Mei had gripped her hand. "My cousin in Seoul is looking for a live-in nurse for his grandfather," Mei said quietly. 6-month contract. Good pay. Maybe you need to disappear for a while?" Kendra had nodded, tears finally falling. She needed to disappear. To become someone new. She had no idea how literally that would come true. The Park family mansion sat in Hanam-dong like a beautiful threat. Kendra arrived on a January morning, jet-lagged and heartbroken, expecting to care for a dying old man and cry herself through 6 months of healing. She met Park Dae-young on her first day, a 78-year-old former kingpin with sharp eyes and sharper words. "You're the black girl who's running from something," he said in perfect English. Not a question. "I'm your nurse," Kendra replied, lifting her chin. He smiled. "Good. I hate cowards. My grandson could learn from you." That grandson was Jin-Woo Park. Kendra first saw him 3 weeks into her stay. She'd heard the whispers from the house staff, the cold air, the ruthless businessmen, the man whose enemies disappeared into the Han River. He appeared in his grandfather's room at midnight, blood on his white shirt cuff. Kendra had been checking the old man's vitals. She looked up into the darkest eyes she'd ever seen, beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. "You're bleeding," she said calmly. Jin-Woo looked at her like he was deciding whether she should die for witnessing this. "It's not my blood," he replied in English, his accent soft. "Then wash it in cold water before it stains. Peroxide if it's already set." She turned back to his grandfather's floor like her hands weren't shaking. Behind her, she heard the smallest huff of surprise. That's how it started. Jin-Woo began appearing more often. At first, Kendra told herself it was concern for his grandfather. But the old man would smile knowingly when his grandson sat in the corner of the room, pretending to work on his laptop while watching Kendra move through her routines. "You're staring," she said one night, 2 months in. "You're interesting," Jin-Woo replied. "I'm your grandfather's nurse." "That's not why you're interesting." He stood, moving with that predatory grace that made her heart race for all the wrong, or right, reasons. "You're not afraid of me," he continued. "Everyone is afraid of me." Kendra met his eyes. "Should I be?" "Probably." "Will you hurt me?" Something flickered across his face. "I don't want to. I don't want to. Not I won't." Because they both knew that in his world, want and will were different currencies. The kiss happened 3 nights later. Kendra had been closing the curtains when Jin-woo caught her wrist. The touch was electric, his hands cold, hers warm, both of them breathing too fast. "This is a mistake," she whispered. "I know," he said, and kissed her anyway. It was nothing like Jordan. Jordan had kissed her like he was doing her a favor. Jin-woo kissed her like she was air and he was drowning. When they broke apart, his thumb traced her bottom lip with devastating gentleness. "I'm not a good man, Kendra. I don't care. You should. I've been good my whole life. Where did it get me?" Her voice cracked. "Kicked out. Abandoned. Treated like I was worthless." His jaw tightened. "Give me his name." "What?" "The man who made you believe you're anything less than extraordinary. Give me his name." It should have scared her. Instead, she felt seen for the first time in years. 3 months into her contract, Park Dae-young called Kendra into his study. Jin-woo stood by the window, rigid. "Sit," the old man commanded. Kendra sat. "My grandson has done many stupid things," Dae-young began. "But falling in love with you might be the most dangerous." Her heart stopped. "Sir, there are people who would use you against him. Kill you to hurt him. Do you understand?" She looked at Jin-woo, whose face was carved from stone. "I understand," she whispered. "Good. So here is the solution. You marry him." "What?" Jin-woo finally turned. "Grandfather, we discussed. A girlfriend is a weakness. A wife is a queen." The old man's eyes gleamed. "In our world, you don't protect what you date. But what you marry? That becomes untouchable. That becomes family. That becomes power." Kendra's mind spun. "You want me to marry Jin-woo so people won't kill me? I want you to marry my grandson so that anyone who tries will start a war they'll lose." Dae-young leaned forward. "But I won't force you, child. Jin-woo can walk away. You can finish your contract and leave. The choice is yours." She should have said no. She should have run. Instead, she looked at Jin-woo, this dangerous, complicated man who'd spent 3 months teaching her Korean at midnight, who'd held her through nightmares about Jordan, who'd kissed her scars and called her beautiful in 2 languages. "If I say yes," she asked quietly, "is it real? Or just for protection?" Jin-woo crossed the room, kneeling in front of her chair. "For me, it's real," he said. "It's been real since you lectured me about bloodstains and didn't flinch." Kendra touched his face, this brutal man who looked at her like she hung the moon. "Okay," she breathed. "Okay, yes." They married a week later in a private ceremony. When Jin-woo slid the 15-carat diamond onto her finger, a family heirloom worth more than a mansion, he whispered against her lips. "You're mine now. And I protect what's mine." For the first time since Jordan destroyed her, Kendra felt powerful. She had no idea that power was about to be tested. 6 months after the wedding, Jin-woo had business in Los Angeles. "Come with me," he'd said. "I don't like being away from you." Kendra had hesitated. LA was too close to her old life. But Jin-woo's fingers laced through hers, and she'd agreed. The Beverly Center on a Saturday afternoon was crowded. Kendra had been browsing a boutique, wearing a simple black dress that cost more than her old car, her wedding ring catching the light, when she heard the voice. "Holy shit. Kendra." She turned. Jordan stood there with a blonde woman clinging to his arm. He looked smaller than she remembered. Ordinary. Jordan. Her voice was steady. His eyes raked over her, confusion and something ugly twisting his features. "What are you doing here?" "You can barely afford," he noticed her dress. Her shoes. The Cartier watch Jin-woo had given her. "Who are you here with?" Jordan demanded. My husband. The blonde woman's eyes widened. Jordan's face flushed red. Husband? You got married? He laughed, harsh and mocking. What, you trapped some desperate guy? Let me guess, you're after his money? God, Kendra, you're so transparent. People were starting to stare. Jordan, don't, his girlfriend started. No, she needs to hear this. He stepped closer, voice rising. You think you can just upgrade? Reinvent yourself? I know you. You're the same broke, clingy girl who wasn't good enough. Playing dress up doesn't change that. Kendra's hands trembled, but she kept her chin up. I'm not doing this with you. She turned to leave. Jordan grabbed her arm, spinning her around. Don't walk away from me. And then he kicked her. Kicked her, his foot connecting with her shin hard enough to buckle her leg. Kendra stumbled backward, shock more than pain, the world tilting. Strong arms caught her. She knew his touch instantly. Jinwoo steadied her, his body a wall of controlled fury behind her. Over his shoulder, she saw Minjae and two other guards materializing from the crowd. Are you hurt? Jinwoo asked softly, still holding her. I'm okay, Kendra managed. He kissed her temple. Then he looked at Jordan. The temperature dropped. Jinwoo Park had made men disappear for much less than touching his wife. Every line of his body radiated lethal intent as he slowly approached Jordan, who finally, looked afraid. You just assaulted my wife, Jinwoo said, his English perfect and cold as a blade. In public. In front of witnesses. Jordan paled. Wife? Look, man, I didn't know. You put your hands on her. You put your foot on her. Jinwoo smiled, and it was terrifying. Do you know what I do to people who hurt what belongs to me? Jinwoo. Kendra's voice cut through. He paused. She stepped forward, standing between her past and her present. He's not worth it, she said quietly, only to Jinwoo. He hurt you. And you'll make it worse. She cupped his face, forcing him to look at her. I don't need you to destroy him. I just need you to love me. That's the revenge. That's the win. Something softened in Jinwoo's eyes, though the danger didn't fully leave. He turned to Minjae. Name. Address. Employment. Everything. Yes, boss. Then Jinwoo pulled Kendra close, his hand possessive on her waist, and addressed Jordan clearly. You're going to wish I killed you today. Because instead, you get to live knowing what you threw away. He kissed Kendra, deep and claiming, in front of everyone. My wife is worth 1,000 of you. And every morning you wake up in your mediocre life, you'll remember the queen you lost. He guided Kendra toward the exit, his men forming a protective circle. Behind them, Jordan stood frozen as security approached, as phones captured his humiliation, as his girlfriend demanded to know what he'd done. In the car, Kendra finally shook. Hey, Jinwoo pulled her into his lap. You're safe. He kicked me. Like I was, nothing. You're everything. Jinwoo's voice was fierce. And he'll learn that. They all will. Jordan's life unraveled within a week. Jinwoo had promised he wouldn't kill him. He'd said nothing about mercy. The law firm where Jordan just made junior partner. Their biggest investor suddenly pulled funding, an investor with ties to Park International. In the reorganization, Jordan was let go. His apartment? The building was bought by a Korean conglomerate. When his lease came up, it wasn't renewed. Every opportunity, every door, quietly closed. Jinwoo never laid a hand on him. He didn't have to. That was the power Kendra had married into, not just violence, but influence that moved like a shadow. Is it wrong that I don't feel bad? Kendra asked one night, curled against Jinwoo's chest in their hotel suite. He abused you emotionally for years, then assaulted you in public, Jin-woo replied, fingers tracing patterns on her skin. Feeling satisfaction isn't wrong. It's human. Your world is so different from what I knew. Are you afraid of it? Of me? She thought about it honestly. Sometimes. But I'm also alive in a way I never was before. With Jordan, I was surviving. With you, I'm living. Jin-woo tilted her face up, his kiss tender. I would burn the world for you. I know. That's what scares me sometimes. She smiled slightly. But it's also what saved me. 3 months later, Kendra stood in the Park Family Library in Seoul, video calling a women's shelter in LA. After seeing how easily an abuser could destroy someone's life, she'd found her purpose. Using her position as Jin-woo's wife, she'd established a foundation, helping women escape dangerous relationships, providing housing, education, protection. Mrs. Park, we have 15 women enrolled in the nursing program now, the director beamed. Thanks to your funding. After the call, Jin-woo entered, wrapping his arms around her waist. My grandfather wants to know when you're giving him great-grandchildren, he murmured against her neck. Kendra laughed. Tell him I'm busy building an empire. You already are an empire. Jin-woo turned her to face him. Do you know what the Korean families call you? Yoang, the lioness. They respect you more than they respect half the men in our world. Because I'm not afraid of them. Because you're extraordinary. He kissed her softly. You took every cruel thing life gave you and built something beautiful. That's true power. Kendra thought about the girl who'd been kicked out of an apartment with 2 hours' notice. The girl who'd believed she wasn't enough. She'd crossed the world, married a Mafia king, and found herself. Do you ever regret it? She asked. Choosing me? I made your life complicated. Jin-woo's laugh was low and genuine. Baby, I run a criminal empire. You're the only simple thing in my life. His eyes went serious. You're the only good thing. Don't ever doubt that. As he kissed her, Kendra heard a commotion downstairs. Min-jae's voice carried up, Sir, we have a situation. Jordan Williams was just detained at Incheon Airport. He flew to Seoul. We found, this is his phone. He's been searching for your wife's location. Jin-woo's expression went arctic. Kendra felt her pulse spike. He came here. He's obsessed, Min-jae continued. Social media posts, emails to her old accounts, he even hired a private investigator. Jin-woo looked at Kendra, a question in his eyes. She'd told him to show mercy once. But Jordan had crossed an ocean to stalk her. Had invaded her new life. Had refused to let her be free. Kendra thought about all the women in her shelter who'd been hunted by men who claimed to love them. No more mercy, she said quietly. He made his choice. Jin-woo's smile was sharp. Min-jae, bring him to the warehouse. Mrs. Park and I will handle this personally. As they prepared to leave, Kendra caught her reflection in the window. Gone was the girl who'd made herself small. In her place stood a woman in designer armor, married to power, afraid of nothing. Jordan had kicked her in a mall, thinking she was still that broken girl. He was about to learn what happened when you touched a Mafia queen. And this time, there would be no mercy. Only justice. The warehouse in Incheon smelled like rust and regret. Jordan Williams knelt on the concrete floor, zip-tied and shaking, finally understanding what true fear felt like. But when Kendra walked in wearing a black dress and her husband's cold smile, Jordan made his final play. I know about the Hong Kong shipment, he gasped. I know about the murdered prosecutor. I know everything about your husband, Kendra. And if I don't check in by midnight, it all goes to the FBI. Kendra's blood ran cold. Because Jordan wasn't lying, she could see it in his desperate eyes. Her ex-boyfriend, the man who'd kicked her in a mall, had somehow become the biggest threat to the Park empire. And the real twist? He wasn't working alone. The warehouse fell silent. Jean Wu's expression didn't change, but Kendra felt him go absolutely still beside her, the kind of stillness that came before an execution. The FBI, Jean Wu repeated softly. You're claiming you have evidence against me, and you've set up a dead man's switch. Jordan's laugh was borderline hysterical. I'm not stupid. I knew coming to Seoul was dangerous. I took precautions. Why? Kendra stepped forward, her voice sharp. Why come here at all, Jordan? Why not just move on with your life? For the first time, something broken flickered across Jordan's face. Because I can't. The words exploded out of him. I see you everywhere, Kendra. I check your social media 50 times a day. I hired investigators. I found out you married some Korean billionaire and his voice cracked. You were supposed to stay gone. Stay small. Stay the girl I could forget. But I didn't, Kendra said coldly. I became more. You became a lie. Jordan lunged forward, stopped by Min Jae's gun pressing against his temple. This isn't you. The designer clothes, the mafia husband, playing queen, it's all fake. The real you is the girl who cooked me dinner and apologized when I criticized her. The girl who needed me. Jean Wu moved so fast Kendra barely saw it. His hand was around Jordan's throat, lifting him off his knees. You want to know who my wife really is? Jean Wu's voice was death itself. She runs a foundation that saved 63 women from men exactly like you. She speaks 3 languages. She negotiated a treaty between 2 rival families that I couldn't crack in 5 years. She is brilliant, powerful, and mine. He dropped Jordan back to the ground. The girl you knew was a woman trying to survive a parasite. You never met the real Kendra. You wouldn't have been able to handle her. Jordan spat blood. Romantic speech. Doesn't change the facts. I have insurance. Kill me, and your empire burns. Kendra's mind raced. This was bad. If Jordan really had evidence. Show me, she said. What? Show me what you have. Prove you're not bluffing. Jordan smiled, ugly and triumphant. Check my phone. Min Jae has it. Min Jae handed it to Jean Wu, who scrolled through with increasing tension. Then he passed it to Kendra. Her stomach dropped. Shipping manifests. Photographs. Audio recordings. Bank transactions. Jordan had everything, enough to bring federal charges, to dismantle the park organization, to send Jean Wu to prison for life. How? She whispered. I hired the best PI firm in Los Angeles. Took them 4 months and $100,000, all my savings, my severance, everything. Jordan's eyes glittered. Guess I was more motivated than they expected. This is insane, Kendra said. You destroyed your life to, what? Blackmail me into coming back? To give us leverage. Jordan struggled to his feet. Don't you see? We can use this. Together. Think about it, Kendra. We tell him to pay us, I don't know, $10 million? 20. We disappear, start over, finally have the life we. The slap echoed through the warehouse. Kendra stood over him, hands stinging, eyes blazing. You think I would betray my husband for you? You think after everything, after he gave me a home, a purpose, love, I would throw it away to run off with the man who threw me out like garbage? But I love you. You love controlling me. There's a difference. She turned to Jean Wu. What do we do? Before Jean Wu could answer, the warehouse door opened. Park Dae-young walked in, leaning on his cane, flanked by 4 guards. Grandfather? Jean Wu's surprise was evident. You shouldn't be here. Your health is fine. The old man's eyes locked onto Jordan. So, This is the fool who hurt our Kendra. Jordan paled further. Look, Mr. Park, we can make a deal. Be silent. Dae-young's voice cracked like a whip. He turned to Kendra. Granddaughter. Come. Kendra approached, and the old man cupped her face with surprising gentleness. This man has evidence that could destroy our family. But I taught my grandson that in our world, there is always a solution. His eyes glittered. The question is, what do you want? Me? He hurt you. He haunted you. He invaded your new life. By our laws, you have the right to decide his fate. Dae-young smiled slightly. So decide. Death? Mercy? Something in between? The power of that choice settled over Kendra like a crown. She looked at Jordan, really looked at him. This man who'd shrunk her world, then couldn't handle watching her expand it. I want him to understand, she said slowly. Really understand what he lost. What he threw away. Then let me tell you a story, Dae-young said, loud enough for Jordan to hear. About the evidence you think gives you power. He nodded to Min-jae, who pulled up a video on a tablet. It showed Jordan meeting with a Korean man outside a hotel in Los Angeles. Money exchanging hands. Documents being passed over. That's James Song, Dae-young narrated. Lieutenant in the Jade Tigers, our rival family. He approached you 6 weeks ago, Mr. Williams. Offered to help you build a case against my grandson. You thought he was just a private investigator with good connections. Jordan's face went white. No, he said he was. A liar. Working for people who want to see the Park family fall. Dae-young's smile was sharp. You were never the puppet master, boy. You were the puppet. The second video showed James Song on the phone. The American is perfect. Too stupid and obsessed to ask questions. We'll use him to get the evidence, then trigger the FBI investigation. When the Parks fall, we take their territory. Jordan looked like he might vomit. But here's what you didn't know, Dae-young continued. James Song has been MY informant for 3 years. Every piece of evidence he helped you gather. Carefully curated. Some real, some fabricated, all traceable back to the Jade Tigers, not us. Jin Woo caught on, his expression shifting to admiration. You set a trap. I set insurance. The Jade Tigers have been probing our defenses for months. I needed them to make a move, show their hand. The old man looked at Jordan with contempt. You flying to Seoul was the final confirmation. Min-jae has spent the last 3 hours delivering our counter-evidence to the Jade Tigers leadership, proving that James Song is our spy, and that their entire operation is compromised. By dawn, Jin Woo added, understanding fully now, the Jade Tigers will be too busy with internal warfare to threaten us. They'll tear themselves apart looking for other traitors. Kendra's mind reeled. So Jordan's evidence is useless, Dae-young confirmed. It was always useless. We've been 3 steps ahead the entire time. Jordan collapsed. No, I spent everything. I gave up everything. You gave up everything for an illusion of power over a woman who never belonged to you in the first place. Dae-young turned his back dismissively. Jin Woo. Kendra. He's yours to deal with. But make it quick, I'm tired. As the old man left, Kendra felt the weight of decision return. Jordan had no leverage. No power. He was exactly what he'd always been, small, petty, and desperate. Please, Jordan whispered, looking at Kendra. Please. I know I hurt you. I know I was terrible. But don't let them kill me. You're not a killer. You're good, Kendra. I'm not the girl you knew, Kendra interrupted. You keep trying to fit me back into that box, but I broke out of it. I grew. She crouched to his level. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go home. You're going to live your mediocre life. And every single day, you're going to remember that you had something precious, and you destroyed it because you needed to feel superior. That's it? Jordan looked confused. You're just letting me go? With conditions, Jean Woo added. You'll sign an NDA with teeth, break it, and the evidence of your collaboration with the Jade Tigers goes to the FBI. You'll also be flagged at every Korean port of entry. You'll never set foot in this country again. And, Kendra continued, you'll stop. No more investigators. No more social media stalking. You'll delete every photo, every memory, every trace of me from your life. Or I let my husband handle you his way. Jean Woo's smile was a promise of violence. Jordan nodded frantically. Yes. Yes, okay, I'll do it. All of it. Good. Kendra stood, and Jean Woo wrapped an arm around her waist. Min-jae, put him on the next flight to Los Angeles. Make sure he understands the consequences of breaking our agreement. As the guards dragged Jordan away, he called out one last time. Kendra. Do you even love him? Or is this all just revenge against me? She could have ignored him. Should have. Instead, she turned, and with Jean Woo beside her, answered with perfect clarity. I didn't even think about you when I fell in love with him. You were already forgotten. The devastation on Jordan's face was the closure she'd never known she needed. Back at the Park mansion, Kendra should have felt victorious. Instead, anxiety gnawed at her. You're quiet, Jean Woo observed as they entered their bedroom. Your grandfather had that whole thing planned. The spy, the counter-evidence, all of it. Kendra turned to face him. Did you know? No. He operates separately sometimes. Keeps me at a distance from certain operations for deniability. Jean Woo loosened his tie. Why? Does it bother you? It bothers me that I didn't see it coming. That I'm supposed to be a lioness, a queen, and I almost panicked because of Jordan. She laughed bitterly. Some powerful woman I am. Jean Woo crossed to her, tilting her chin up. You think power means knowing everything? Being invulnerable? That's not power, Kendra. That's a fantasy. Then what is it? Getting back up. Making hard choices. Standing in a warehouse and choosing mercy when you had every right to choose violence. His thumb brushed her cheek. You're the strongest person I know. I don't feel strong. Because you're human. That's what makes you different from men like me. Like my grandfather. We were born into this world, raised to be hard. But you? You chose it. You walked into our darkness and brought light. He kissed her softly. Don't lose that. Don't become us. Kendra leaned into him, breathing in his familiar scent. What if I want to? Become harder. Colder. So nothing can hurt me again. Then I'll love that version of you too. But I'll also remind you who you really are. She was about to respond when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Korean area code. Against instinct, she answered. Mrs. Park. The woman's voice was smooth, cultured, speaking English with a British accent. You don't know me, but I know you quite well. My name is Helen Choi. I'm Jean Woo's fiancée. The world tilted. His, what? Jean Woo's expression darkened. He reached for the phone, but Kendra pulled away. I can see he didn't tell you, Helen continued. How typical. Our families arranged our marriage when we were children, Mrs. Park. I've been studying in London for the past 5 years, but I'm returning to Seoul next week. To claim what's mine. Jean Woo is my husband. Is he? Or did a lonely old man force a marriage to protect you, and my dear Jean Woo went along with it out of duty? Helen's laugh was musical. Check the family records, darling. My name is still on all the official documents. The Park Choi alliance has been planned for 20 years. You're a lovely detour. But detours end. The call disconnected. Kendra lowered the phone, ice spreading through her veins. Kendra, Jin-woo started. Is it true? It's complicated. Is it true? Her voice cracked. Are you engaged to someone else? Were you engaged when you married me? Jin-woo's jaw clenched. Technically, yes. But. Technically. Kendra stepped back. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm the other woman. I'm what Jordan's girlfriend was to us. You are my wife. Helen is nothing. A contract from childhood that I've been trying to dissolve for years. Trying? So you haven't dissolved it. It's not that simple. The Choi family controls half the ports in Busan. Breaking the engagement means breaking an alliance, potentially starting a war. So you married me while engaged to her, and just hoped it would work out? Kendra's laugh was brittle. Did your grandfather know? Jin-woo's silence was answer enough. He did. He knew, and he married us anyway. And you, her voice broke. You let me fall in love with you. You made me feel chosen, special, when all along I was just, what? A complication? You are not a complication. Jin-woo reached for her, but she jerked away. I love you. Helen is a political arrangement. That you never told me about. How many other secrets, Jin-woo? What else haven't you said? Nothing that matters. Everything matters. I gave up my whole world for you. I stood in that warehouse and chose mercy because I thought we were building something real, something honest. Tears streamed down her face. But this is just another version of Jordan. Different packaging, same lie. Don't you dare compare me to him. Why not? He hid me from his real life. You hid your real life from me. Tell me how that's different. Jin-woo's control snapped. Because I would die for you. Because you're not a secret I'm ashamed of, you're the only good thing in my fucking life. Because Jordan threw you away and I worshipped you from the moment you told me how to clean bloodstains. Then why didn't you tell me? Kendra's whisper was broken. If I matter so much, why didn't you trust me with the truth? Because I was afraid. The confession seemed torn from him. I was afraid you'd look at me exactly the way you're looking at me now. Like I'm a liar. Like I'm not worthy of you. His voice dropped. And you'd be right. The rawness in his expression nearly broke her resolve. Nearly. I need space, Kendra said. I need to think. Kendra, please. Space, Jin-woo. Can you give me that? Or is that also complicated? He flinched like she'd struck him. Then nodded once, sharp and painful, and walked out. Alone, Kendra collapsed onto the bed and let herself shatter. 3 days passed. Kendra stayed in the guest wing. Jin-woo gave her space, but she felt his presence everywhere, guards at her door, her favorite foods appearing at mealtimes, fresh flowers every morning. On the 4th day, Park Dae-young summoned her to his study. You're angry with my grandson, he said without preamble. He lied to me. He omitted a truth. There's a difference. Not to me. Kendra's voice was steel. I've been lied to my whole life. By Jordan, by people who smiled and spoke behind my back. Jin-woo was supposed to be different. Dae-young poured tea with steady hands. Let me tell you about Helen Choi. Her family arranged the engagement when she was 7 and Jin-woo was 12. Neither child was consulted. It was business. That doesn't make it better. No. But context matters. The old man sipped his tea. Helen has been in London for 5 years. She writes to Jin-woo twice a year, perfunctory letters asking about business. She has a British lover, a banker named James. She has no intention of marrying Jin-woo. Kendra looked up sharply. Then why is she coming back? Because her father is dying, and he wants to see the engagement fulfilled before he goes. Helen is dutiful. She'll come, make appearances, play the role. But she doesn't want Jin-woo any more than he wants her. So why not just break it off? Because the Choi family patriarch is old-fashioned and vengeful. If we break the engagement, he'll see it as an insult worth dying over. He'll use his last breath to wage war against us, destabilize our territories, destroy our alliances. Dae-young met her eyes. 60 people work in our Busan operations. They have families. Children. If war comes, they die first. The weight of it settled over Kendra. So we're trapped. We're in a difficult position. But not trapped. The old man smiled slightly. Jin-woo has been working on a solution for 3 years. He's been building alternative shipping routes, securing new alliances, preparing for the day he could break from the choice without casualties. 3 years? Since before you. He's always hated the arrangement. But when he met you, when he fell in love, Dae-young's expression softened. He became desperate. Started taking risks. Made me promise to protect you if the choice retaliated. Kendra's throat tightened. He should have told me. Yes. He should have. My grandson is brilliant at business and violence, but terrible at vulnerability. The old man leaned forward. But here's what I know, Jin-woo has had many women. Dozens. I never cared about any of them. But you? Within a month, he changed. He smiled more. Had nightmares less. Started talking about the future like it was something beautiful instead of something to survive. That doesn't excuse. No. It doesn't. But it should count for something. Dae-young stood slowly. Helen arrives in 6 days. You can run from this, protect your heart, return to America and rebuild. Or you can stay and fight for the man you love. Either choice is valid. But make it consciously. Don't run because you're afraid. Run only if you truly don't love him anymore. After he left, Kendra sat alone with that question. Did she still love Jin-woo? The answer came swift and painful. Yes. Desperately. Completely. Which meant she had to decide if love was enough. That night, Kendra found Jin-woo in his office, surrounded by documents. He looked up, hope and fear warring in his eyes. Kendra. Tell me everything, she said. Every truth you've been hiding. If we're going to survive this, I need total honesty. Jin-woo took a shaky breath. Okay. Okay, yes. For 2 hours, he talked. About the engagement arranged when he was a child. About his attempts to break it honorably. About Helen's indifference and her father's stubbornness. About the 3-year plan to extricate himself without bloodshed. About the moment he saw Kendra and realized he couldn't wait 3 more years. I was going to tell you, he said hoarsely. After we secured the alternative ports. After the danger passed. I know that sounds like an excuse. It is an excuse, Kendra interrupted. But I understand it. She moved closer. I also understand that you're not Jordan. You didn't hide me. You didn't diminish me. You were trying to protect people while building a life with me. You just went about it wrong. I'm sorry. God, Kendra, I'm so sorry. I know. She cupped his face, feeling wetness on his cheeks. Jin-woo was crying, this dangerous man, weeping. But we can't have secrets. Not anymore. If we're partners, we're partners. You trust me with the hard truths. I do. I will. His hands covered hers. I can't lose you. I won't survive it. You won't lose me. But things change, starting now. Kendra's voice firmed. When Helen arrives, I meet her. As your wife. As an equal. We handle this together. She'll try to undermine you. Let her try. I'm not the woman who got kicked in a mall anymore, Jean Woo. I'm the woman who married a mafia king and built an empire. I can handle one spoiled heiress. For the first time in days, Jean Woo smiled, real and bright. You terrify me sometimes. Good. Keep you on your toes. She kissed him softly. But Jean Woo? If you ever hide something this big from me again, I won't give you another chance. I've accepted being part of your world. But I won't accept being treated like I'm too fragile for the truth. Never again. I swear it. Then we have a wedding to prepare for. Jean Woo blinked. We're already married. Not a real one. A public one. Kendra's smile was sharp. If Helen's coming to play fiancé, I'm going to make it very clear who you belong to. We're having a ceremony, traditional Korean, public, with every family in Seoul watching. By the time Helen arrives, she'll know exactly what she's up against. Jean Woo's laugh was pure joy. I love you. I love you so fucking much. I love you too. Even when you're an idiot. She kissed him deeper. Now let's show this city who the real Mrs. Park is. The wedding was a spectacle. Held at the Shilla Hotel with 400 guests, it was the social event of the season. Kendra wore a traditional hanbok in deep crimson and gold, custom made, worth more than a house, absolutely stunning. Jean Woo couldn't take his eyes off her. The ceremony was beautiful, but it was the reception that mattered. That's when Helen Choi made her entrance. She was beautiful in an ice queen way, tall, elegant, dripping diamonds. She approached Kendra with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. So you're the American, Helen said in perfect English. How exotic. And you're the ex-fiancé, Kendra replied smoothly. How dismissed. Helen's smile tightened. Jean Woo and I have history. Contracts. Family obligations. You have a marriage certificate and borrowed jewels. These jewels belong to Jean Woo's grandmother. He gave them to me because I'm his wife. You have a childhood contract that everyone knows is political theater. Kendra stepped closer. But let's skip the posturing. Your grandfather wants to know me, so here's what you'll tell him, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not intimidated. And if anyone tries to use you to break my marriage, I will end them. Brave words for a girl from nothing. I am from nothing. Which means I had to become everything the hard way. You were born into power. I took it. Kendra's smile was pure steel. So ask yourself, who's really more dangerous? For a long moment, Helen stared. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. I can see why he loves you. She glanced at Jean Woo across the room. For what it's worth, I don't want him. I never did. But my father is dying and wants to see you settled. I know. Kendra made a decision. What if there was another way? What do you mean? You have a lover in London. James, the banker. Helen's eyes widened. How did you? We know everything. It's what we do. Kendra's voice softened. What if we publicly broke the engagement, mutual decision, both families agreeing you're better suited to someone else? We help you marry James, make it a partnership that benefits everyone. Your father gets to see you married before he dies. The Choi Park alliance continues through business, not blood. Everyone wins. My father would never agree to a British commoner. What if James wasn't a commoner? What if he suddenly had backing, connections, a title of nobility that your grandfather couldn't dismiss? Kendra smiled. Jean Woo has reach in London. We can make James suitable. Give your father the honorable out he needs. Helen looked stunned. You do that? For me? Why? Because I'm not interested in destroying you. I'm interested in protecting what's mine. This way, we all get what we want. Kendra extended her hand. Allies instead of enemies. What do you say? Slowly, Helen shook it. You really are remarkable. I know. As Helen walked away to call James, Jean Wu appeared at Kendra's side. Did you just solve a 20-year-old engagement problem in 5 minutes? He asked, awed. I told you. I'm not the girl you have to protect anymore. I'm the partner who fights beside you. She turned into his arms. Now dance with your wife before someone else steals her. As they moved across the floor, surrounded by power and influence, Kendra caught her reflection in the ballroom mirrors. A year ago, she'd been broken, abandoned, invisible. Now she was crowned, powerful, unforgettable. What are you thinking? Jean Wu murmured. That Jordan did me a favor, Kendra said. By kicking me down, he forced me to learn how to rise. And I rose so high, he'll never reach me again. Jean Wu's arms tightened. No one will ever hurt you again. I'll make sure of it. We'll make sure of it. Together. The song ended, and the crowd applauded. But Kendra barely heard it. She was too busy kissing her husband, claiming her power, living the life she'd built from ashes. She'd been abandoned, betrayed, kicked to the ground. And she'd gotten back up a queen. Jordan Williams scrolled through Instagram on his lunch break from his new job at a mid-tier accounting firm. He told himself he wouldn't look. He'd promised himself. But his fingers betrayed him, typing her name, Kendra Park. Her profile was public now, a power move. The latest photo showed her at a charity gala in Seoul. She wore emerald silk, Jean Wu's hand possessive on her waist, her baby bump just barely visible. The caption read, Building Empires, one generation at a time. Below, thousands of comments in Korean and English. Queen. Power couple goals. The Park heir is so lucky to have you as a mother. Jordan's hands shook. She was pregnant. Glowing. Happy. Powerful. Everything he'd told himself she could never be. His phone buzzed, his girlfriend Ashley asking when he'd be home. Sweet Ashley, who was nice enough but didn't challenge him, didn't shine too bright, didn't make him feel like he had to be better. Ashley, who was exactly what he'd said he wanted when he left Kendra. Ashley, who would never be Kendra. He deleted Instagram and put his phone away, choking on regret. Across the world, Kendra felt her baby kick and smiled. She never thought about Jordan anymore. She had a kingdom to run. Did you love that ending? Kendra really said, you can't break what you made stronger. Comment your favorite moment from this entire story. If this story captivated you, like this video. Subscribe and hit that notification bell.